Good day. If you have been a visitor to any of the countries in the Middle East, what will come to mind, I am sure, is the pace of development in those countries. Countries like United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and even Egypt, where cities like Cairo, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Doha, Riyadh are places where bubbling with vibrancy of development. Everywhere you will see new attempts to create new realities in these places, particularly Dubai, where we have the biggest growth in the financial sector. We have innovation, we have data centers all around. People are striving for a post-oil economy in the Middle East. The Middle East is where innovation is meeting intent these days. But while all these countries that I just mentioned are striving for greater development and are achieving spectacular results in it, after all, a country like Qatar, which just recently hosted the World Cup and welcomed the whole world and wowed the world in that event. On the reverse side, one country in the Middle East has been associated with one word for the past 20 years. That country is Israel, and that word is conflict. Israel is by every means a regional power in the Middle East. But rather than have good neighborly relationships with its neighbors, Israel has been in conflict with its biggest, closest neighbor, the Palestinians in Gaza. Recently, unfortunately for the Gazans, Hamas launched an attack on Israel on October 7th, 2023, and since then, their lives have changed. Today, the world is moving into a new uncharted path because Israel has attacked Iran, and in attacking Iran, they have escalated the conflict that started in October 7th to a level that we don't know where the world is going to be. Welcome to my channel, Ibima Mungo's Perspective on Global Affairs. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, like, share. Today, Israel launched an attack against against Iran, and they took out a lot of facilities in Iran relating to the nuclear program of Iran. They also attacked the headquarters of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and killed the commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. The operation, as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said, is going to be an ongoing one until Iran is degraded. But even then, Israel has already launched a state of emergency in anticipation of Iran's retaliation, because as we have come to know, Iran is a capable foe. It is a strong foe and has allies in China and Russia. But in this case, it has also built systems that it has shown. It has missile systems, and it has hypersonic missiles, and it has drones. So the Israelis are anticipating that the Iranians will attack them, and for that reason, they have declared a state of emergency. But how did we get here? Israel has had a conflict with its neighbors over years. We know of the Israeli-Arab War of both 1967 and 1973. But to a large extent, Israel has made peace. And in recent time, one American president has tried to push Israel even closer to making peace, and that is President Donald Trump. President Donald Trump has tried to get Israel to be at peace with the Arab countries through the Abraham Accords. And Israel made peace with United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and one or two, but they could not make peace with Saudi Arabia, who refused to sign until Israel had better conditions for the Palestinians. But Over the course of the 4 years when Donald Trump was on seat, Israeli-Arab relationship deteriorated when October 7 happened and the strong hand of Israel. Israel descended heavily on Hamas, but it took its revenge also on the civilian populace of Gaza. Doctors have been killed, babies have been killed, the people are being starved, they can't get access to food aid, and the world has watched how a whole city has been decimated and destroyed and is now in rubble. Some of the most harrowing human experiences in recent times is happening in Gaza to the extent where a lot of people are chattering that it's so unfortunate that a country who came out of the genocide of World War II, of the Jews in World War II, are now meting out genocidal actions against the people of Gaza. So the Palestinians have been under the boot of Israel for a while. And for that reason, some organizations and countries that try to help the Palestinians, and particularly the Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Houthis, and even the Syrian government under Assad. But Israel has won spectacular successes in destroying Hezbollah, degrading it to a large extent, and decapitating its leadership. And the subsequent leadership that was even elected to replace Nasrallah, who was the very, very vocal and strident opponent of Israel and leader of Hezbollah. They have also helped to overthrow Assad and captured very large territories within Syria that they now want to use as a buffer between themselves and the Syrian state. So Israel has won spectacularly since October 7th, and it's not uncommon to wonder, well, if the October 7th actions by Hamas was really worth it. But Israel has always wanted the destruction of Iranian state because they consider the Iranian state to still be a threat to them, especially as the Iranians have a nuclear program. Israel is considered to be the only Middle Eastern country that has nuclear weapons. And for that, they want to be regional hegemons, control their region. And they've had help in doing this from the Americans. Israel has the power, and that power has almost started to corrupt the leadership of Israel. Because as we know, I don't know who said it, but power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. This Israeli government under Netanyahu has become the untouchable government, the government that every action it takes cannot be questioned, and any attempt to question them or sanction them or to criticize them will be met with a statement of being an anti-Semite, that you want to kill Israel and you want to kill the Jews. So that is how they weaponize the word anti-Semite, so that anybody who dares to criticize them. But it is not just the criticism, it's the diplomatic and political support Israel enjoys in the American Congress and the American political class. Israel has bipartisan support. There's no doubt about that. Very strong support. Recently, in two times, the Israeli Prime Minister visited Congress. The first time he got 51 rounds of standing ovation. The second time he got 58 rounds of standing ovation by almost every member of Congress that was in Congress that day. So Israel has support among the American political class. But it will surprise you that these recent actions of Netanyahu's government against the Palestinians in Gaza has led to criticisms of the Israelis, not by the, apart from what we see in the videos and we see in the news, it's not only Muslims and it's not only Christians and secular people who are criticizing the Israeli government in the government in Israel. It's also Jews. some of the most stringent complaints against the Israeli government comes from someone like Jeffrey Sachs, who is also a Jew. And recently, Ben Gvir came visiting to Congress, and at the Capitol there, he was confronted. Ben Gvir, I should say, is one of the people of the smaller parties that Netanyahu had to form a coalition with in order to be in government. They are fundamentalists. His party is very fundamentalist, and he's the head of the internal security unit of the Israeli government. He is extremist to the point where he has called for ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians from Gaza so that Gaza will be just for the Israelis. And he too was indicted with Netanyahu by the International Criminal Court. So here's the thing: the actions of the Netanyahu government has been so appalling to a lot of people that these criticisms have even come from institutions like the Human Rights Group, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and Netanyahu and Ben Gvir were indicted by no less the International Criminal Court, calling them saying that their actions are genocidal. So this is the situation we find ourselves now. Netanyahu has been very angry, has achieved spectacular success, but this time in this new Trump administration, Donald Trump has said that he's trying to make a peace deal with the Iranians so that they can reduce their nuclear program, enrichment of nuclear materials to weapons grade. But the Iranians insist that because they use those enriched uranium for civilian purposes, they needed it. But the Israelis just don't want any peace deal done between the Americans and the Iranians. So this attack is obviously to try and destroy any attempt for a peace deal between Iran and America. So Benjamin Netanyahu has done this. He has the bipartisan support, and he has his critics. He has his critics in America, but he has staunch support. One of the groups that support the Israeli government the most, the State of Israel and the Israeli government, whichever Israeli government comes, is the evangelical Christians in America. They are very strong supporters of the concept of Zionism. They believe that place is a place of God. So they look to they give continuous support at all times to Israel. So Israelis may not necessarily be getting the support from the Jewish community in America as they get from the evangelical Christians in America. But that support has cost them. That support and Israel's actions has cost Israel a lot. Since the crackdown on Hamas, Israel has lost a lot. The economy has shrunk. The economy is stressed at this point as we're talking. The Houthis, which is one of the groups opposed to Israel because of the actions they're taking against the Palestinians, have practically blocked access to the Haifa port, and the Israeli port is bankrupt now. But they continue to get financial and military support from America. It's no matter the president that is there, and they can continue to prosecute their campaign against all their neighbors. So Israel is permanently at war while all its neighbors are trying to get to be developed countries, get to be modern countries, get to be on the cutting edge of the changing times of development. But Israel is in conflict. And one of the things it's losing in the midst of this conflict is its population. Israel is a country of immigrants. It's a lot of Jewish immigrants from Russia, from Hungary, from Eastern Europe, even from Africa, and even from Ethiopia, all moved to make the Israeli state. Since this conflict started, a lot of people now feel very insecure. Those from America have gone back to America. Those from Russia and Hungary. Many are going back to London and France and all the cities of Europe from whence they came. So this is the thing, and there's been some other cost to the economy of Russia of Israel is being stressed, like I said, and then Israel is known for innovation. They have a huge startup community there. A lot of those people who were part of the startup community where apps like Waze were built. They are all leaving. They are leaving and going back to America, going back to Silicon Valley and watching what is going on there now. The actions of Israel has also changed the polity in America. We can see demonstrations all across American universities. And when Palestinians and Muslims were being harassed by the state, by the foreign ministry and ICE and um, all the paramilitary institutions in America, the people who took up demonstrations against Israel's actions were ironically the Jews. And since Jewish students were now the ones doing most of the demonstrations in schools like Harvard, in schools like Columbia, Donald Trump's heir and the heir of the political class was now focused against the administrations of these institutions, and that's why Harvard is now having a lot of problems. South Africa, too, ironically, has become one of the most strident critics of Israel, and they too are now getting to feel the full brunt of the Israeli lobby in America because they have urged Trump to take action against South Africa, and all the sanctions and all the bad blood between South Africa and the Trump administration is instigated by them, all in support of Israel. So Israel is fighting on many fronts. Netanyahu is not bothered about it, but this conflict has a cost, and it is destroying Israel. He may win someday, we never really know. Today's action against Iran is one that is ominous. There's one cost I know that we all will feel from this war, and that will be oil prices. Oil prices will go up. It will affect the most vulnerable countries in the world, whose economy is not so strong to be taking hits on increase in oil prices. But beyond that also, escalation in the war may cause refugee crisis. We really don't know. I imagine that for those countries in the Middle East who have an interest, they will put pressure on Donald Trump to talk to Netanyahu. But it's obvious now that Donald Trump can't control Netanyahu anymore. Because when Donald Trump went to the Middle East recently to visit, control and stringing in and trying to prevent a war between Iran and Israel was one of the things that the Middle Eastern monarchs asked of Donald Trump when they were promising investments in the American economy. So this is where we are today now. Netanyahu has launched a war. He has escalated. He has tried now to destabilize the Middle East, a region that has been growing and a region that now has aviation institutions like Qatar Air, Emirates, Saudi. They will all be wondering how this war is going to affect them because we know the wrath of the Israelis. It comes in the form of missiles, drones. They used it the last time against Israel recently, and hypersonic missiles took out some planes or some things in the Negev desert. Those are controlled information, so we really don't know completely, but people know that the Iranians hit targets in Israel. And to tell you that the Americans are prepared and the Israelis are prepared, recently, Ukrainian President Zelensky announced that 21,000 anti-drone missiles were sent from America to the Middle East, obviously to Israel. So they are prepared, and they are prepared for a response, for Tehran's response. But we really don't know what's going to happen. Iran lost the commander. Iran may have the escalatory ability. They may not. They may win. They may not. when Nasrallah entered the fray in support of Hamas, we never imagined that it will lead to him being killed under almost 50,000 tons of concrete rubble. That's what the Israelis did to him when they bombed him out in his apartment where he was having a meeting with his team. Today also, we heard that the commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, Salami, was also blown up in his office while he was having a meeting with his team. Yeah. So the intelligence of Mossad is very strong, and we really don't know how this war will end. The war may draw in America. Netanyahu wants America to fight on his side, but Netanyahu has said that he will take unilateral action against Iran no matter what happens. America has already said they were not part of this war. They know about it, but they were not part of Israel's operations against Iran. We really don't know where this is going to lead to. At this point, I will urge everybody to pray for peace. We don't know how this will escalate. We don't know the role China will play. We don't know the role Russia will play. And we don't know how pressured Israel may feel that may lead to the escalation and the use of nuclear weapons, because we all know that Israel possesses nuclear weapons. So let's all pray for greater peace within that region. But it's sad that while all the other parts of the countries in that region are looking to development, Israel is the bully, the warmongering troublemaker in that region that is just trying to get the countries of that region to blow them up and set them on fire. I come to the end of my program today. If you have any comments, please put in the comment section. The topic of Israel is very touchy. There are very strong, passionate support for Israel and against Israel everywhere. I have tried to stay off talking about Israel. It is not uncommon to be just criticizing what they are doing. You get all manners of labels, and I choose not to discuss Israel, but this is monumental, and it will be irresponsible of some of us if we don't talk. Thank you for being with me to this time. Subscribe if you're new to my channel. Like, put your comments, share. Until I see you next time. Please stay safe in this time that we really don't know where the world is going.